Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Football Manager 2018. This is episode number 17, and today marks the first game of the new season, and in a new division. Last year, we achieved promotion from the Vanarama National League North, so now we are playing in the Vanarama National League. Our expectations this year are to finish mid-table, to reach the first round of the FA Cup and the second round of the FA Trophy. What we have left of our budget is $90,000, our transfer budget, and our payroll budget stays at $175,000. Now we have a tough ask to begin the season, as we are going up against recently relegated and pretty challenging team in Forest Green Rovers, and we're going to be on the road for that. So there's a good chance that we're going to start off the season with a loss. However, preseason predictions actually place us in 8th place. So despite the there we go. And actually now 7th, we've bumped up with recent signings. So despite the mid-table finish, which I think places, 12th is halfway. That's top half. So I think that's supposed to be about 10th to 15th is the range we're supposed to achieve. But it looks like there's a pretty good chance of 7th. And you look at the other newly promoted teams, all 3 of them are picked to go right back down and rubber band. However, we are picked to stay on top. The 2 recently relegated teams are right at the top with Ebbsfleet. So Accrington Stanley and Forest Green, and then Ebbsfleet are picked to be the top 3 this year. And so this road game at Forest Green Rovers is set to be a pretty challenging game for us. All right, let's see. We have Heslop, Morgan Smith, all are going to get contract extensions. Rankine, I don't think he's going to get to 10 league games. Heslop might not get to 10 league games. Morgan Smith will. He is the backup at striker. And with over 20 goals last year, I think he'll probably get his 10 league appearances in. And we have some gain promotion this season, which I don't think we're going to gain promotion this season, but we might be in the mix. All right, and homegrown. Not sure why Rondell is here on this list. Oh, okay, that's our backup keeper, our kid that we signed. All right, so let's go ahead and see how things have changed. We're going to take a look at our transfer history. There we go. Here's the changes we've had this season. We've sent Ben Clapson out on loan to Kidderminster, which was requested by him, and he was not looking like he was going to get any time this season as it was. Last year he played, let's see, history. He had just 4 appearances last year. He actually did pretty good in those 4 appearances, but he was not looking like he was going to get much of a chance this year. And as we mentioned in the last episode, in the preseason special, David Ferguson was sold off for a pretty good penny as the team was in a bit of financial trouble. So we made pretty good money off of that, even though I would have liked to have kept Ferguson around. But I'm actually really happy because his replacement is easily as good as he was. So no setback there, and I think the team's actually looking stronger than it was even a year ago, and we were really strong for the National League North. So I think we're in pretty good shape this year if I can get the team gelling early on. All right, so we've already seen Matthias Kate on loan from Fulham. He's going to be playing our center mid in Josh Simpson's spot most of the season, but he could also double as a center attacking mid. Jason Davis was also brought in previously, as seen on the last episode, and Jason Davis is going to be playing our right wing position. He's the one that I'm a little skeptical on of the signings so far that are set to feature in the first team. He hasn't done terribly well in the preseason, and we'll see. His attributes aren't great by any means. He's just got a lot of pace, and then he's kind of well-rounded with a lot of low-level attributes. And for this level, that's not that bad in the Vanderham National League, but I have a team that's got some pretty decent players in it, and I don't know if he's going to quite be up to par without any high attributes. Cooper and Orel we saw in the previous episode, and they're both signed as backup U23 players. I think they're like 20 and 18 respectively, or the other way around. Craig Ross did sign his deal to be our backup goalkeeper, and he should be decent enough to earn himself a fair amount of starts over the course of the season. So Luke Simpson's not going to have every start throughout the year, but Craig Ross will probably only have about a quarter of the starts throughout the season, I would expect. Here's the new signings that we've had since the last episode. We did get our man in Nick Houghton. He was our most expensive signing of the season, as he's going to be making about $15,000 per month. His demands were pretty high. I had passed on him at one point, but there was lots of interest for him, and I did end up bringing him in, and I'm not so sure. I might have made a mistake on this one. He's valued pretty high, and so he could be worth a decent amount to cash in on partway through the season if things aren't working out with him. He's got a lot of flair, and he's good off the ball. Great first touch, dribbling, and he's pretty strong at taking corners, and he is set to take our corners. He is in Aiden Conley's position at as our center attacking mid, so our false nine. We'll see how effective he is. I am going to do some rotation through that. I'm not going to try to have, like last year where Aiden Conley, when he was fit, he played every game. Not going to do that this year. I will do some rotation to try to keep guys healthy. But we'll see how effective Houghton is. Since coming to the team, his evaluation's been a little lower than expected. We got Wes Fletcher, who was on loan playing as striker during the preseason, and he is actually pretty similar to Amari Morgan-Smith, but just kind of slightly better all around. So he is going to be getting the start this season, and he will be rotating some with Amari Morgan-Smith. He's not a great finisher, but he's got some pretty good all-around attributes besides marking and tackling that will make him hopefully fairly effective. And he was all right in the preseason. Connor Wood is our huge signing that we ended up with. Connor Wood is the one who replaced David Ferguson, so he's our new left back, and he is as good as Ferguson was, and signed for a whole lot less. He's making $8,000 per month, and actually, well, Ferguson wasn't above that. The evaluation compared to other players is really good that we were able to sign him on as cheap as we did. He's got tremendous speed, great first touch, and is strong defensively, but also good in passing. Not crossing, though, but good in passing. His concentration, his decision-making are all pretty high, and so far through the preseason, he was very effective, and I think he's going to do well for us this year. Opposite him, and carrying the same last name, so I've got two Woods at fullback, is Bradley Wood. Bradley Wood is a journeyman, 26 years old. He's been in the National League for the last 2 years. 2 years ago, he won promotion, I think, with Lincoln, and then last year got relegated. So he's been on both ends of that. But he's a pretty solid player, even though he doesn't have the greatest physical attributes. He's got high natural fitness, and overall pace is pretty good, though it takes him a little bit to get up to speed. But his work rate is incredible. He's got a lot of strong mental attributes. And then technically, he's good at tackling. He's great for long throws. And his crossing ability is an 11. He's a well-rounded player who also doubles as a center mid. And it really shows in what he can bring to the attack, even though it's not amazing. But at this National League level, somebody who can contribute a bit going forward, but be pretty strong going back, I think he could be a surprise this season and do really well. However, he had a nasty red card with his previous team just before the end of the season and ended up with a 5-game suspension. I haven't seen a video of it or anything, but he had a 5-game suspension, of which he's only served 1 game so far. So he is going to miss our first 4 games this year. With that, his backup is Lewis Fensom, 18-year-old kid with some great speed, good marking and tackling ability, and his decision-making and positioning work in such a way that he is actually pretty effective going forward. And he had 2 wonderful, wonderful assists during the preseason that convinced me that it would be worthwhile to sign him as a hot prospect on low wages, sign to the team for a couple of years, and he's got pretty high potential as well. So I'm pretty excited by this guy. One that I couldn't pass on, Belikli. He is Turkish, and I picked him up after he got released by somebody else, but he was an unknown. He hadn't played for him. He had just been kind of on the end of the bench and playing the U23s, and this kid's actually pretty well-rounded and plays multiple positions. He can play all across our attacking positions and could step in and perform now. He's very similar to an Aiden Conley, but just a little below his level. And I got him for super cheap. He's getting paid the minimum $900 per month, and so I couldn't pass on this. And I think that was a great pickup for us. Owen Bailey is a young 19-year-old. He has got 0 quality except for defensively, but that's his job anyway. And he's got pretty high potential, so he's not making a whole lot. He was a little above minimum, but with 14 heading, marking, and tackling, all 3 of them, and decisions 14, positioning not bad at 9, had to get this kid on the squad. He's got a lot of work on some other categories, but he can defend, and that's his job. And finally, Ben Barclay. A bit more well-rounded, but not that great of a defender. He could actually see himself this year being beat out by Owen Bailey behind him, even though at this point there's a fairly large gap. But he's also just 21, but he's a lot more well-rounded, just kind of missing what we need him to do defensively. But he's got more pace than any of my other defenders, and I did want to get one speedy guy in there, just in case, especially if I'm finding we're having some trouble keeping up with some teams. Last year we did give up some through balls, and we'll see how things look this year. All right, so I brought in a whole bunch of players, more than I let go. So we did increase the roster size a little bit, but all in all, we did it while still saving some money. We've still got $21,000 left in the payroll budget. I'm not planning on bringing any more players in. I think this squad should do it. In terms of board confidence, it's pretty high going into the season. After last year's success, that's created a bit of a boost. Our club stature rose quite a bit from that. Finances, they're happy that we are well below budget. And the club philosophy that I added to sign some high-profile players, bringing in Connor Wood and Nick Houghton, completed that, and they are thrilled about what we've been able to do there. The locker room atmosphere isn't as high as it ended last year, but it's already coming up pretty quick despite all the change, and the leadership support and tactics are looking good. But again, this first game might be a bit of a challenge for us as we head into the season. And before we do that, we're going to look at just a couple more things, and then I think we're going to be ready to go to start. Quick review of the preseason. We actually faced a lot of teams in higher divisions this season, this preseason. And between Stevenage, Southend, Walsall, and Exeter, we actually only lost one of those games, and it was just 1-0. We didn't put a whole lot of goals in against these teams that are all in League 1, League 2. But we played quite well and really hung in there. So impressive preseason in terms of that. We played only 2 lower division teams. And Chippenham, even though it was 3-2, we absolutely crushed them. They only had like 3 chances the whole game and happened to score 2 of them. And because I had a minor injury to Luke Simpson, I kept him out. And we had our 18-year-old in goal when those goals were scored against us. And we've definitely gone to our lower depths of the team at that time with full changes. Completely controlled the game otherwise, and the 3 goals we scored were nice goals. We just should have won by more. And Dunstable was very dominating in that performance, even though it was only a 3-goal win. But good preseason, so looking forward to the season. Team is playing nicely, especially against tougher opponents, and that's what we're starting with, tougher opponent right off the bat in our first game. I think if we can survive this first game with a draw, we're going to be in really good shape to get a run going after that. But look at that, there's Accrington Stanley, third game, and also on the road. So we've got 2 of our toughest games of the whole year within our first 3 games. Let's see, Ebbsfleet was the other one, and look at that. So all 3 of the title contenders are all going to be on the road very early in the season. So if we can escape those with only maybe 1 loss and a couple draws or even 1 win, I'd love our chances this season, as we're going to get those teams at home in the second half and our toughest games out of the way early on. So I'm actually pretty excited by that. Let's see. What I wanted to go over that last thing before we get started was a quick review of last season. We won the title in the Vanarama National League North, but let's see if I can look at... let's see, I want to look at just the table. And can I look? Here we go. Last season. So going down. Were we in the South? No, that's... Okay, it just switched back. So we were champions last year. Salford, who was only 2 points behind us and 20 points ahead of third place, would have been favorites to go up. But the last team to make the playoffs, Telford United, just came out and shocked everyone. First, they beat Blythe in the first round, and then after knocking them off, they comfortably beat Salford and comfortably beat Kidderminster to get the promotion. So could not believe what happened there. They were aided by a couple penalties, but they absolutely crushed teams. The penalties got them going. But from that point on, they just tore into them, and they were scoring 3-4 goals a game. and got themselves promoted. So Salford's stuck down there one more year after a 94-point performance. I could see them topping 100 this season. But last year, National League Hartlepool won, and Leyton Orient went up with them. And there's teams that went down. And in League 2, Accrington Stanley, Forest Green Rovers are the ones that went down, and it was pretty close at the bottom. And Colchester, Luton Town, Mansfield, and Cheltenham went up. In League 1, Oxford, Oldham, and Walsall got the promotions, and Walsall immediately started looking for players. That's why they went and spent money, and they were trying to they did get Ferguson off of us, and they offered a whole lot more for Aidan Conley, but I turned that down as he is essential to the team. And I thought I could replace Ferguson, which I did. I got somebody of equal caliber, which was nice. Plymouth Argyle, Doncaster, Bury, and Rochdale all went down. And in real life, Rochdale just had a nice FA Cup run. I think it ended with Tottenham, I believe, if I remember correctly. Which Tottenham's into the semi-final now. And in the championship, Aston Villa champions, 90 points back into the Premier League after just 2 years out? 3 years out? It hasn't been that long. Middlesbrough finally back in after brief but definitely longer hiatus. Less than a decade, I know, but it's been a little while since Middlesbrough has been up there. And there's the big shocker, Leeds United back to the Premier League. The former champions that have been that dropped 2-3 divisions after financial trouble throughout the mid-90s there. They are finally back to the Premier League. Preston, Sunderland just missing out. And at the other end, Bolton, Nottingham Forest, and Burton Albion heading down to League One. And then the Premier League champions, Manchester United, back on top. First championship since the retirement of Ferguson. Arsenal were second, Liverpool and Chelsea, the other Champions League spots. And Man City only to the Europa League, unless the FA Cup aided them, which I want to say Arsenal got back-to-back on the FA Cup, if I remember correctly. Everton, Brighton, and Huddersfield went down. And a little bit of a space, unlike real life this year, where things are so tight, all the way to the mid-table, down to that relegation zone. All right, a couple other things of note. Atletico won La Liga. Bayern won the Bundesliga. And let's see. And Holland finally get a World Cup victory. They beat France in the final. And I think Portugal beat Brazil in the third place game. All right, well, that's what Football Manager, that's what Sports Interactive said happened in the world this past year. And, of course, we had our own impact on the game. But here we are. First game of the season is done. Wrexham and Sutton United tied 1-1. And we're going to head into our game. Again, tough game to start the season on the road at one of the favorites to win the league this year, Forest Green Rovers. Oh, nice. I like that. Green and black. That's a nice jersey. Those are my colors, by the way. So, kind of plays a role in that. All right. Well, I think I've got my team selection ready to go for the first day. Not looking to make any changes here. Our match sharpness is not perfect. I spread things around a lot. I got a lot of other guys outside of Sakara, who's on his long-term injury. I got a lot of guys semi-fit, at least 80% or better. Simpson missed those couple of games, maybe even 3. So he's not terribly fit, but they're well enough. Everybody should be good to go. And in terms of condition, everybody's in the high 90s after having 8 days since that last game. And I rotated quite a few guys out those last few games, giving them a day off so that they didn't have too many games. Trying to watch the injury risk this year, as I faced quite a few injuries last year, overplaying a few of my guys. I think Parslow might struggle a little bit this year. And Josh Simpson is probably going to struggle a bit this year. And then I'm worried about Houghton and Davis. Part of that is their abilities, for sure. But part of that's just from what I saw during the preseason, especially as we were playing those higher league teams. The guys who were able to expose these weaker players a bit more. All right, well, we are ready to go with the opening match of the season. We will get through that match before the end of this episode. One thing that bugs me slightly is a lot of the guys that I brought in don't have their pictures, but hey, whatever. We're down in that lower league. As we get up higher, we'll have most of our guys like their team. Last year in most games we had just kind of Kane Felix who was without the picture, but it's all good, not a concern. All right, so first game ready to go. We are set, I believe, for defending set pieces as our focus in yesterday's final training before the first game. And I think this might be all the best out there today. Have fun. No response. How about I have some faith? We're going to go with I have faith. Oh, I love this. What an awesome new feature that they've added in. Whoever came up with that idea was brilliant. Whoa, it's green bumblebees everywhere in the crowd. Okay, I said I liked their jerseys, but after seeing a whole crowd wearing them on the opening day, which, by the way, that's some awesome fan support. If you've got the entire stadium wearing your jerseys, I mean, you don't even get that at the highest levels. You get a lot more of it. You know, you look at Anfield or Old Trafford. Of course, you're going to see lots of jerseys out there, but I don't think you see even that much. All right, well, we are in the blue and black, and I think it's time I focus on our team. So early on, we are 12 minutes in. We are on the downside on possession, but not terribly far. I might change to counterattack before long, but I want to give it a look. Poorly done there by our backup right back. He should have stayed to the inside. Boy, he had a lot of time to see him coming too, and Laird ran right by him. Nothing Simpson could do on that one. We are down 1-0 to start the season. Like I said, I didn't have the highest of hopes for this game. Not sure we're going to be in a position to get promoted this year, but I think we can have a pretty good season. But this is going to be a tough game today. I don't think I'm worried besides more than the top maybe 4 or 5 teams in the league, and maybe even just these 3 teams that are picked as favorites. I just noticed on the top that Telford, the other team that came up with me, is already down 2-0 in their game. Ooh, boy, we're struggling on that right back side here early on. And Telford got a goal back. Maybe I should set us to counterattacking. Ooh, boy, that was a close chance. Yes, we're gonna switch to counterattack and see if we can't get more out of that, as we are not keeping possession terribly well. 46% is not awful by any means, but if we set it to the counterattack, we might be able to use some of our pace, which Fensom, right, are struggling right back right now. That is his best attribute. How did we lose that ball? Oh, great ball from Fensom up to Fletcher, who gets a chance. Puts it just wide. I think that missed by a couple feet. Looks like the keeper would have had that covered. But we got a chance out of it. Team's still fairly composed, though Fletcher's looking a bit frustrated. But we hit halftime with 4 shots apiece. That's not that bad. 46%, 46% possession. Also, not too shabby for our first game out at a very difficult Forest Green Rovers. The unfortunate mistake to get us down 1-0 might be too much for us to overcome, but I think we might have a goal in us today. It's just whether we can hold them at 1 here in the second half. No changes yet. We're going to see if we can't... no, I'm not going to tell them they were disappointing. I'm not disappointed. Let's just say they've been unlucky because outside of one guy, they played pretty well. And that was the right talk for this team. And we're going to go ahead and end that talk and start the second half. Here we go. Our ball this time going left to right. Long ball ahead. That time was way off target. Unreachable. We seem to be struggling down the left side. Oh, seriously? Oh, that's us! We get the penalty. Fletcher steps up, puts it home. Keeper guesses right, but Wes Fletcher gets his first goal of the season from the spot. Free kick, foul in the box, and we're tied at 1. I didn't think we had a goal in us that way. Preseason, I had a couple penalties called against me. But I didn't have any for me. Wow, there's one right on the edge of the box as well. We get a second goal! Rowe! Oh, offside. Offside? Yeah, offside. Danny Rowe was still in place after the ball bounced back from the wall, and the ball came right back in. Danny Rowe slotted it home. We almost had ourselves a lead there. Boy, does that change things quick as we pick up some momentum. But Simpson blocks that shot there and sets it out for a corner. We get it out, though. And Wood clears the ball to a teammate. Here's Fensom. Long throw straight to the other team. Boy, Fensom's having some trouble. This might be a long 4 games with Fensom in there. Wood, nice ball to Conley. Conley has been moved out. A second penalty. Wow. We might come out with 3 points today. Fletcher just puts that one underneath the keeper, who gets down a little bit late. Looks like it was under his shoulder. No, it was past his fingertips. Bad dive from the keeper there. He really should have had that one. Should have done better. Wow, we are up 2-1. Surprise result, though we have definitely not outplayed them by any stretch of the imagination. Here's Davis having a poor day. It's time to start subs. We got 72 minutes to play. We are already set to counterattack. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Kane Felix, who, despite his lower attributes, throughout the preseason continued to play really well. Very surprising. So with Nick Houghton coming in as our cam, Aiden Conley was pushed out to left wing, where he did really well during the preseason. He had just as many created chances as he did throughout last season when he won Player of the Season. So I think he's going to be just as effective out there on left wing as he was. Then between Kite and Conley, we've got 3 great options there. So that's one reason why I expect to see some rotation this season at that position. All right, well, we're going to make one change for now. Looking at what I have left, Sean Newton might find himself in the game here fairly soon, and probably for Josh Simpson. They're pretty similar players. We'll probably get that rotation in here somewhere around the 80th minute. I think I'm going to switch us now that we're at the 75th. We're going to switch to defensive. And we'll adjust our tactics. We're going to take off the overlap. And we're going to start wasting time. It's still 15 minutes to go. But we're going to drop that defense back. Can we hang on for 3 points? Opening day, tough road game. What a great start that would be. Maybe a gift from the referee, though. I don't know if those decisions are good or bad. Never can quite tell until the analysis afterwards. Wow, nice chance. That was a great save from the keeper. That was nearly a goal. I think that was Fletcher on top. Ooh, nearly a chance there, but the ball gets away. Can they counterattack now? Ooh, bad foul. This is definitely going to be a card for Fensum. Yes, yellow card. Will he cost us a second goal, or will he step up here in the final minutes? Clearance, we're now beyond 80th minute. We're going to make that one more sub here real soon. Oh, definitely offside. Are you kidding me? He was well behind my defense. No call. Let's see this. Was he offside or not? Or did Fensum play him on? Oh, no, he's just onside. Danny Rowe makes the mistake. So our top defender gets caught out there, and now it is tied 2-2. And now the bigger question is, can we still hang on for a point? Which I don't necessarily think we deserve today, but we are up to 50% possession. We've had more shots than they've had, so I guess in that sense we've kind of earned it. But Danny Rowe, big mistake there, costing us the tying goal pretty late on. And let's get Sean Newton out there for Josh Simpson, who is a bit fatigued. Chance from range, gets blocked, goes wide, so they get the corner kick. We get the clearance. Defense not resetting very fast. They do get almost free header there, but straight at the keeper, and we are into stoppage. 5 minutes, yikes. 3.5 to go. Let's go ahead and use that final sub to help make sure we hang on to this. We're going to get Ben Barclay in there. Or let's bring in Murray Morgan-Smith. Let's see, Nick Houghton is quite tired. So we're going to bring him in for Houghton, and then we'll switch Conley. All right. 3 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go. 1 minute to go. Final seconds. They do have a chance here, though. Oh, gosh, I got all kinds of guys chasing them out of position, and the ball goes out of bounds. Goal kick, that's going to do it. We are going to finish the opening game of the season with a point. Lucky if you ask me, but the stats look pretty balanced. So we were able to hang with them on the road on opening day, where you get the bumper crowd for sure. So despite their relegation, they are still picked as one of the favorites. And we hung with them more or less, but both of our goals come from the penalty spot. But our backup rookie right back made a key mistake that gave away one of the goals, and key mistake from our veteran defender, Danny Rowe, for the other one. So one of their goals certainly was, from their end, a good goal. But we certainly didn't do a whole lot offensively. And Connor Wood, the new stud, 6 mistakes in the game. Wow. Yikes. That's shocking after a great preseason that he had. Hopefully that was just a really good player that maybe he was nervous. All right, well, they did well today, so go ahead and say I'm proud of you, and there we go. All right, so we start the season off with a draw after a tough-fought game, so we'll take that. It's a good start to the season. We should start to see the morale boost. Game number 3, though, is certainly going to be challenging, and I think that's where you're going to see me next. So we'll go into our third game of the season. Accrington Stanley on the road again, and they are the favorites to win the title this year. And they won their first game 2-0. Let's see. Who did they play? There you go. Halifax Town at home. So pretty comfortable win for them to start the season. And that's who you'll see starting off our next episode. But that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.